In this week's episode of One Piece, the final pieces of the puzzle are finally starting to fall into place. And we finally get to see the return of Sabo this week. They don't say his name, they don't show his face, they completely build it up the entire episode, but fans of the series will definitely know who it is, and it is certainly going to build the hype. I definitely got the feels from watching this episode, and I got really pumped up because when I was watching it, there was some brand new stuff they added to the intro, which is really awesome because it looks like they're just going to keep the song, but they're just going to change up the imagery as it goes on. And I'm completely okay with that because I actually really like the brand new One Piece opening. But the imagery is great because we get to see more of Doflamingo's goons like Diamante, this one big rock golem guy. They actually reveal who is the devil fruit user who actually turns people into toys this week, and they show them in the intro as well. But there was a moment in the intro where, like, I literally, no joke, squealed like a schoolgirl when they showed Sabo, and it just got me really excited for this episode. And his introduction is awesome because it's all a build-up to his final reveal. But before we get to that, this week's episode had a lot of really noteworthy things about it. There was a little bit of action. It actually opened up with Dellinger, the local Hishi of the One Piece universe, beating the crap out of Bellamy until Bartolomeo comes in and stops him, and that's because he wants to protect anybody that Luffy is affiliated with. And this is all leading up to the scene where Bartolo meets Luffy, and then Sabo just walks in out of nowhere. Other little developments is the plan that the toy soldier is coming up with the Tontada tribe, and it's his plan, which is SOP, which is Sugar Oversized Panic. And I don't really know what to take from that title, but it's hilarious because when he's going over the plan, which is going into this underground area where everybody's working as slaves to stop Sugar, Frankie just wants to know what the name of the plan is. And of course he reacts strongly as Frankie does, and it's really funny, and it adds a little bit of humor to this week's episode. And that's another thing that made this one great, just the amount of emotions. The badass action scene at the beginning, the hilarious stuff in the middle, and that huge sad feels tease with Sabo at the very end of the episode. And what I really love is that when they finally reveal who this devil fruit user is, it's not who you expected. It's actually this cute little girl by the name of Sugar. That's the member of Doflamingo's crew who's constantly eating candy, and her powers are basically whenever she touches someone, they instantly become a toy, and then they do exactly what she wants. And they've clearly been hiding her in shadow because there's that one scene earlier in the arc where they showed people getting captured by Treble by his weird goo. And apparently she must have been right there and transformed them into toys. And that's because Treble is actually her personal bodyguard. And obviously Treble is one of the more stronger members of Doflamingo's crew. So we all know that's leading up to some pretty badass action scenes. Is it going to be Usopp versus Treble? I hope so. But the other thing about this episode, obviously, is Sabo. Appearing at the very end of the episode, he walks right up to Luffy. Immediately, Luffy knows who he is, and my god, are they teasing this character. They do not show his face once this episode. They only show like the bottom part of his chin. Every single time you think they're about to pan up and show his face, they don't, and I like that. It's really building the hype, and he goes on to explain to Luffy off camera that he's alive, everything's fine, and he's actually going to help him get Ace's Devil Fruit, along with Bartolomeo. So now Luffy has 2 chances to get back Ace's Devil Fruit, and this is awesome. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen, and come on guys, it's pretty clear Sabo's going to get that fruit. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to be the one who's going to have the brand new Mera Mera no Mi. But they also confirmed that that one girl, Koala, is back. She's the one who was way back in that flashback arc during Fishman Island, and she's working along with Sabo, and that's awesome because they're actually bringing her character back. And I can't wait to see how they're going to get involved because they keep throwing in these curveballs in Dressrosa, and that's why so far I think this is probably my favorite arc of the series. Before, I was a really big fan of Impel Down and CP9, but this one right here, I love the twists and turns, and all the different candidates they have for Straw Hat Pirates. They didn't even go back to Rebecca this week, but I'm not complaining too much because this week's episode was just a lot of fun. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? I loved it. You know, like the other episodes, the pacing was a little off, but there were enough reveals and surprises this week that I was just really excited watching it. I appreciated the action scene at the very beginning with Dellinger, and, you know, I don't even know what to take from his character yet. I don't know how much of a threat he is, but he was beating the ever-living shit out of Bellamy, and that's a shame because Bellamy can never catch a break, and I still think that he is one of the other members of this arc that, you know, they could be the next, like, Straw Hat Pirate member. Like, there's a possibility for them. I think it could be Bellamy, it could be Rebecca, or Bartolomeo. They are my strongest candidates at the moment. Although, now that Sabo's returning, who knows? Anything could happen at this point. Other little things, like I mentioned, I love the humor this week, especially with Frankie, his ridiculous poses, wanting to know what Plan SOP is. But after Luffy meets Sabo, he decides to meet up with Kinemon and Zoro, and they are wearing some ridiculous outfits with Kinemon as a frog, Zoro as a cat, and Luffy as a fish. And it's funny because Luffy can't control his shit because he just met Sabo for the first time in years and he thought he was dead. So he's just running around Dressrosa, crying like a little bitch in a fish suit, and it's absolutely hilarious. And at the end of the episode, they tease the fact that Sabo is getting ready to enter the tournament as Lucy. He's actually wearing all of the armor, he's even painted on an X on his chest, and it's just amplifying the hype of this arc. So, clearly, I love this episode. It wasn't perfect, there were little pacing issues, and I didn't like the fact that they kept basically tickling our balls with Sabo's reveal at the very end of the episode, but at the same time, like I said, I'm incredibly excited for it. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. So definitely check this one out, One Piece fans. You will not be disappointed. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of One Piece. What did you think about the big reveal of Sabo at the end of the episode? I know it was sort of, ruined for us in 3D2Y, but you gotta admit, it's pretty exciting. Remember guys, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, make sure and do so. You can do that by clicking on the button right up here. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Other little thing before I go, I just want to mention, I just did a video about a lot of upcoming anime DVDs, and I just went to AWA, which is Anime Weekend Atlanta, and the good people at Funimation decided to release One Piece Film Z 4 days early before its release. It was an AWA exclusive, and I'm really happy about this one. I think this is one of the most action-packed One Piece movies ever, and this thing is still fresh. It's still in the cellophane, you can see. So me and Christian are going to do a full unboxing for you, and tell you about some of the extra features and look at some of the packaging, so make sure and stay tuned for that. You can still check out your copy of this DVD. You can pre-order it right now at Amazon. If you guys want to do that, I'll put a link for that in the description box below. Otherwise, that concludes my review today. Super Kami Guru 9000.